In a lot of Western countries like America, adults stop making friends after 30 or after 40. In the Philippines, the problem is the opposite. You can't get rid of yours. The tita who knows your business before you do, the high school barkada still showing up to your birthday at 45, the cousin who invites herself over and brings four other cousins. This is the country that already solved the problem the entire West is now writing books about. Now, loneliness is happening everywhere in the Western world, but I'll focus on the Western country that I know the most, America. The American loneliness story is everywhere now. The Surgeon General issued an advisory not about cigarettes, but about it in 2023. Robert Putnam's book, Bowling Alone, became one of the most cited sociology books of the last 25 years. Sheila Liming wrote an entire book called Hanging Out about the lost art of being around other people. A survey center on American life study in 2021 found 15% of American men had zero close friends. This is up 3% in 1990, a five-fold increase in 30 years. Adult friendship in America has collapsed. You schedule a coffee 3 weeks out, you send a text that says, we should hang out soon, and then nobody does. You have coworkers, you got your spouse, if you have one, and that's pretty much it. Americans are now paying for community apps, friendship coaches, third-place subscription clubs. They're trying to manufacture what most countries used to have for free. And I could tell you with certainty, being lonely in the Philippines is almost impossible. Not because Filipinos know something secret, but because the entire structure of daily life makes it nearly impossible to be alone. So start with the houses. Most Filipino houses are relatively small, not necessarily yards or basements or shared walls even. The average Filipino household has more than four people in it, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. In some regions of Mindanao, that climbs closer to six. For comparison, the average American household has about 2.5 people. In the Philippines, kids share sleeping spaces with siblings and sometimes cousins, sometimes parents. Multi-generational households are common. So think about what that means. You can't go to your room and shut the door because there's nowhere to shut it. So you go outside to the street, to the basketball court, or to the corner where the tricycle drivers wait. Climate compounds it. It's too hot inside without AC, and it's too humid in cramped quarters. So at certain hours, life moves outside, and outside is shared by definition. But in the Philippines, you can't be alone in your house for an hour because there are five other people in it. Solitude is not an option. It's a luxury the architecture just doesn't allow. Every Filipino neighborhood has a tita who's going to be sitting in a window all day. She knows everybody, whose kid got a scholarship, whose husband is in Saudi. People don't go to the sari-sari store to socialize. They pass it. But because the owner is sitting there in the sari-sari store, every passing becomes a small social transaction. She says hello. People say hello back or how are you? Maybe they share a bit of chica-chica, a bit of gossip. And then multiply that by every neighbor who walks by 10 times a day. Now, conversely, think about an American or most Western suburbs. There's no equivalent role. There's no person positioned to witness your daily comings and goings. There's no small chit-chat that's happening on and off throughout the day, every day. A Pew survey last year found only 26% of Americans know all or most of their neighbors. 12% don't know any of their neighbors at all. In the Philippines, you can't leave your subdivision without someone clocking that you left. The tita isn't trying to be the community infrastructure. She's trying to make a living selling shampoo sachets, but the byproduct of her sitting there is that nobody disappears. In America, you're going to do one big grocery run. You buy in bulk, you stock up for the week. There's been self-checkout for years if you want that option, or curbside delivery. You can complete your entire week of purchases without speaking to a single person. In the Philippines, the structure is the opposite. You buy what you need today. You're lucky enough to have ice from the corner multiple times a day from the same people who recognize you. They ask about what's going on in your life or at the commute, standing there at Jimny terminals or tricycle stops, same MRT car at the same time every morning. You're not alone in your car with a podcast like I would have been in California. Instead, You're sitting like a can of sardines in the chimney with people that live in your same area. So here's the mechanism. Americans design their daily lives around minimizing repeated contact. Drive your own car, buy in bulk, order delivery. Each interaction reduce or eliminate it. But here in the Philippines, Filipinos haven't designed around repeated contact. The system produces it as a default. You see the same faces 10 times a day, whether you want it or not. And those repeated contacts are how acquaintance becomes neighbor, and neighbor becomes someone who'd notice if you stop showing up. But Americans and most Westerners lost that layer. Filipinos can't get rid of it. Western friendships have an evaporation curve. College friends, then job friends, then friends scatter, then kids. By 35, most Americans have one or two close friends left, if that. The barkada doesn't work like that. Your high school friends are your friends at 50. Your kuya from college is at your wedding, your kid's baptismal, your father's wake. They were the people who knew you before you became whoever you became. And they don't release you because you got a job in Singapore for 3 years. So in the Philippines, barkada permanence, your close friend circle isn't sentimental. It's structural. Family connections overlap with friend connections. Your barkada, your close social circle knows your siblings. Your siblings know their barkada. People often stay near where they grew up. The obligation system makes attendance at wakes and baptisms not optional. You don't have to maintain a Filipino friendship the way an American does. The friendship maintains itself because the system around it does the work. In America, if you don't text your friend for 6 months, the friendship likely will die. But in the Philippines, if you don't text your friend for 6 months, you're going to see them at your cousin's wedding anyway. So in the Philippines, you got things like fiestas, wakes that last literally 7 nights, baptismal parties, birthdays where 40 people show up, Christmas starting in September, Holy Week emptying Manila and refilling the provinces with everyone going home. In America, you have to actively choose to participate in community events. But in the Philippines, you can't avoid them. Your cousin's daughter is getting baptized, you're going. Your Lola's brother's husband died, you're at the wake. The fiesta in your barangay is Sunday, everybody's there. Whether you wanted to be social or not, you're going to be social in the Philippines. So I want to be honest about the cost, because there are costs for this life in the Philippines. Privacy is hard. Gossip travels, faster than a speeding bullet. Your business is everybody's business, whether you want it to be or not. Family obligation can be heavy. You can't say no. You can't skip a fiesta. You can't tell your barkada you don't want to come this weekend. You can't reinvent yourself in the way you can in some anonymous American suburb. If you grew up here, that tita in the window remembers who you were at 12, and that version of you walks beside you forever. But Western anonymity also has its costs. Filipinos can name them: loneliness, isolation, some Surgeon General's advisory. Filipino density has its costs too. Americans would name them different. No privacy, have the obligation, a self that can't be fully chosen. This isn't a video arguing one is better. It's a video arguing that the Philippines kept what the West lost, and the West is now spending billions trying to reverse engineer it. I run a community dinner event every week in BGC called Bridge House. And the whole point of it is to bring expats and Filipinos together in a room over a meal where conversation can happen. And here's the thing I've learned from running it. I had to design Bridge House from scratch. I picked the venue each week, the same schedule, Wednesday, 6 p.m., build a guest list, send invitations. It's work to make it all happen. And the thing that it produces after all that effort, something every Filipino barangay produces by accident. People who recognize each other, conversations that pick up where they left off, the casual, I saw you at the thing last week, that creates the texture of community. Bridge House is what Westerners like me have to design. The barangay is what Filipinos already have. So that's the whole video in one observation. Filipinos sometimes wonder why foreigners get so emotional about the Philippines. Some of it might be the pretty beaches or the pretty girls, but I think a lot of it is that they've stumbled into a country that still has something they didn't realize they'd lost. The system here makes loneliness almost impossible, not because anyone designed it that way, but because the pieces of daily life that are arranged so that running into someone you know is statistically inevitable. And I gotta say, even in a modern community like I live in BGC, I can't step out of my condo without seeing one or two or three people that I know. And people are friendly and people notice each other. And the thing is because Filipinos are so much like that, I think that foreigners over here also become a bit more like that as well, as they just see like, hey, these Filipinos got something good going on here, with everybody saying hi and smiling and saying, how are you doing? And for those that are a little bit older, like me living over here, it reminds you of a time when you were a bit younger, where Americans would still take the time to look you in the eyes and genuinely ask how you're doing. So this is the difference between both countries. In America, community takes effort. In the Philippines, loneliness does. As always, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch. And if you believe this video would be helpful for someone else, please consider sharing it. Take care.